All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with another video. I don't know if you guys might have seen my last video about who Joe Biden didn't pardon, and it was like Fannie Willis left her hanging out there, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, and a few more that the Democratic Party had used as attack dogs. But he seemed to pardon everybody else, including Dr. Fauci and his family members. So while everything else is going on, Trump reminded Joe Biden of something. Trump said that Joe Biden, in all the haste of pardoning other people, he forgot to pardon himself. And he put that out there. So that's kind of like a warning, or I don't know what you'll call that, but he reminded him that he forgot to pardon himself. And it was ironic because one of the congressmen had said he went to Joe Biden about some papers that Joe Biden had signed. Joe Biden didn't even know he had been signing papers. So it's like the government been saying, who's been running the country for the last 4 years? So I want you to check out this story, and I'm gonna do a commentary on it. But you tell me where you think Trump is coming from with this. This is from Black conservative Greg Foreman. He be having good content. So this is for the commentary in the 1976 Copyright Act, educational purposes. Check this out.
To give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care. They're yelling at me. This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great. I want to know. I'm here, so the economy. But you have to understand.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about President Trump's interview with Sean Hannity. And one of the parts of the interview that I found to be fascinating is when President Trump started to talk about Joe Biden and the pardons that he gave out for basically everybody in his family. Okay, everybody that was allegedly involved in the Biden crime family, they got pardons. Plus Democrats who also, in my opinion, probably committed crimes as well too. The J6 committee and others. Everybody got pardons from Joe Biden, right? However, Joe Biden did not pardon himself. Maybe Joe Biden thought that maybe if he does that, he may be going too far. Okay, it might be too obvious that he is guilty of a crime, which is what Democrats said, that pardons, pre-pardons, are an admission of guilt. Okay, which again, hey, Joe Biden seems to have pointed out a lot of people is guilty, but he didn't do it for himself. And this is something that led to Sean Hannity freaking out, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, when Trump was kind of bringing that up. Okay, and I want to go ahead and play the clip here from Fox News they put out of this conversation that President Trump was having with Sean Hannity about Joe Biden and these pardons. Take a look.
Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time. He heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. The money went to him. Should Congress investigate that? Well, I don't know. It's, you ordered the DOJ. I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon. And he didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think President Trump brings up an interesting point about how Joe Biden pardoned all these people except himself. Okay, because all signs point back to Joe Biden, okay, as the big guy, right? 10% for the big guy. He's the guy that ultimately was benefiting, okay, because his name is the most important name, the most prevalent name in the Biden crime family. they were making money off of his name. His son allegedly was acting as a foreign agent on behalf of Joe Biden, okay, in order to influence pedal, okay, to make money from the influence that Joe Biden had in Washington, D.C. And as James Comer has outlined, a lot of those people that Joe Biden pardoned, they received payments from this operation.
Look, we did a report. We were very transparent with the report. I said, and was attacked by the media for saying it, that 10 different Biden family members received incremental payments that had been laundered through shell companies into their personal accounts. Now, 6 of them have just gotten pardoned. The 5 that President Biden pardoned going out the door, plus his son. In fact, the 3 spouses that were pardoned, the only place in the world their names were mentioned was in our report and in my book, All the President's Money. We detail who got the money, and in the footnotes and endnotes, it shows the pattern and how they got it. So even President Biden's own Department of Justice, when they were arguing against the January 6th release, releasing the January 6th prisoners, they said that a pardon would be an admission of guilt. And I think that when you're talking about Joe Biden's family, it's obviously an admission of guilt that he pardoned 6 of them preemptively. I mean, the sister, the in-laws and one brother had never been charged with anything. We only charged Hunter and Jim Biden with perjury and lying to Congress. Obviously, there are other crimes, and I write about it in the book, violation of Foreign Agents Registration Act, money laundering, tax evasion, that we believe all the family could be charged for. And I believe that someone read my book that was advising Joe Biden, and that's why they issued those pardons preemptively out the door, and they never had a press conference to talk about it. And
it's true. We didn't hear from former President Biden on this. Now, he has said that he did these pardons because he was concerned his family members would be subjected to legal and political persecution.
Now, I know you guys heard, just like me, they said that at least 5 of them were getting money from foreign companies into their personal accounts. And he pardoned them on their way out the door. When you look at these last 4 years in this country, it's explaining itself. What was going on, it's explaining itself. Let's listen to some more.
Yeah, so again, leaving it CNN to run defense for Joe Biden, even going as far as to say that, hey, President Trump is sending a threat to Joe Biden.
President Trump, in a new interview, floating an ominous idea, the possibility of investigating former President Joe Biden.
This guy went around giving.
Now, I want you to watch CNN. They're going to put the worst possible spin they can put on it because they definitely operating as a tool of the left as far as how they disperse their media. But watch how they spin it.
Everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him. Should Congress investigate that? Well, I don't know. It's, I've ordered the DOJ. I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon.
Is he threatening to investigate Biden? Did you interpret it that way?
I didn't interpret it that way at all. I interpreted him saying, having gone through the experience of what I just went through the last 4 years, what a foolish decision it was for Biden not to pardon himself given the current environment. And I think that's true. I mean, I think going forward, our partisanship is so toxic. What it is thinking.
Did you hear what he said? He said, in this environment, it would be foolish for Joe Biden not to have pardoned himself. That tell you how corrupt these politicians were. They needed pardons before you could even accuse them of something. They already getting pardons.
When a new administration leaves, they almost have to look and say, okay, how do we protect the people who've made some of these difficult decisions from these partisanship judiciary, this partisanship that takes place in the Justice Department? I think pardons becomes that answer. I think that's what he's saying. I don't view it as a threat to investigate because you just look at the first term. He didn't do it the first term. Why would he do it the second term?
Can you imagine if Biden had pardoned himself, given the flack he's already gotten for his son pardoned his family members? How would that have looked?
Of course, it would have looked bad. It would have made it hard for a Democratic consultant like me who makes ads against Republicans for pardoning January 6th folks. Because every time I bring that up now, they're going to come and everybody's going to go, well, what about all the pardons? This just goes back and forth and we never get there. Right.
Family.
See there? That's what I'm saying. But this is a long stretch. Me and Terry were talking in the green room. Sorry, I'm going to bring it up. But there was a great letter that he had left to this president. Really nice. And we was talking about how nice it was. I guess we're throwing all that nice out the window now, because now we're talking about coming after each other. Seems like we go back and forth, but in my mind, the way I think about this is it's just more red meat. You've seen the first 48, 72 hours. Everything he said he's going to do, he's did it. And he just keeps shoveling more red meat to that base.
Well, Sean Hannity, he wanted to move on from this point. I don't know if he didn't want to go down this road or he had other things to talk about, including things like the economy. Listen to this moment when Sean Hannity was like, something else you want to talk about?
Look how CNN refers to Donald Trump implementing the executive orders that he ran his campaign saying he was going to do. They compare to feeding his base red meat. Now, think about that. They still are being condescending. He's feeding his base red meat. Really?
Watch.
Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of the economy. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care. They're yelling at me. This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
Yeah, you gotta love President Trump, right? He says, "I don't care because the economy's gonna do great." Right? I want to talk about Joe Biden not pardoning himself. Now, again, is this a threat? I'm not sure if this is a threat as much as it's just a warning that, hey, you might not be off the hook, okay? You issued out all these pardons to protect all these other people, but you forgot to protect yourself, okay? And who knows, okay? There could be some investigations into Joe Biden, but honestly, I'm not even sure that even if Trump went after Joe Biden, that Democrats would be upset, right? Would Democrats really care that much, considering how they're not really feeling Joe Biden right now? In fact, they actually want Joe Biden to go away.
Just the kind of truth of where we are. In all know Biden, actually we know, you and I know him personally. And I think.
Now these is other Democrats talking about Joe Biden. Man, they turn on each other on the left like snakes for real. They all turn on each other. Listen to them. Listen to how they're gonna talk about it.
It's fair to say that we're a long time at some level admirers of Joe Biden. And what he's done to himself is no one wants to hear from this guy anymore. Okay? Just go to your condo in Rehoboth and stay there. And that's not because we're bad people or we mean people. It was all his doing. All his doing. This entire thing. In this kind of petty back and forth, I would have beat Trump. No one fucking believes that at all. And then fighting with Joe Biden and Alexander Pelosi. I mean, just look, guy, you had a noble career. Your last act was terrible. Just get out of the way. The party's moving on. I mean, they're really moving on. And it's very sad that
Carvell is throwing Joe Biden under the bus. He telling him, get out the way. They don't want to hear from him no more. You used up, blaming everything on him. Listen.
But that's just where we are. And he created this himself. He had nobody to blame but himself. Right. Nobody.
Yeah, so I don't know if Trump actually tried to lock up Joe Biden and have Joe Biden thrown in prison, which, by the way, I can't lie to you guys. I'm 50-50 on it, okay? Part of me is like, you know what? Maybe Joe Biden does deserve to go to prison, right? And then part of me is like, that's elder abuse, okay? We all know that the DOJ came out and said that, listen, we can't really go after Joe Biden because, one, he's president, and two, he's too old. Okay, he's too old to stand trial. Okay, it would be elder abuse to make this man have to defend himself in court in front of a jury when it comes to him taking the classified documents that he knew at the time was not legal. Okay, and he used those classified documents in order to enrich himself by giving information to his ghostwriter to write a book, in which, again, he eventually made multiple millions of dollars off of. Okay. So, if Trump decided to actually go after Joe Biden, or if Republicans decided they're going to go after Joe Biden in some way, okay, if the DOJ decided they're going to go after Joe Biden, I just kind of feel like it's one of those things that if it's not done after Trump has secured the border, he's conducted mass deportations, he has essentially lowered taxes, hopefully inflation gets down below 2%, right? We can figure out inflation. Okay. I feel like that should be the last thing on his agenda, right? I feel like that's what he should do last. That's what you should do when you're bored, right? When you've won everything, you've done everything that you promised you're going to do, and you're like, okay, what else can I do, right? All right, Joe Biden, it's time to seek justice, okay? Because that's what it is. It's not revenge. It's justice, okay? It's 100% justice. And that's why, again, I'm on the fence, because I'm like, you know what? If Biden committed a crime, he's not above the law, right? Democrats said that nobody's above the law, then he should be held accountable. But on the other hand, they're going to boo-hoo on you just going after Joe Biden for revenge. You're just trying to get revenge, right? It's a political persecution. That's what they'll say. But it's not political persecution. It is justice. And I think that Democrats should be held accountable. I'm sick and tired of seeing Democrats get away with everything, right? Democrats need to be held accountable, okay? And maybe it could be a good idea to make an example out of Joe Biden, to let the nation know that nobody, including Democrats, are above the law, right? So I'm just saying, if it happens, okay, if they have substantial evidence of Joe Biden committing some type of crime that, is worth prosecuting, going after him over when it comes to the business dealings of him and his son overseas, right? Things of that nature, and maybe other things as well, too. Then, hey, I think they should consider going after Joe Biden, because, again, it's not revenge, it's justice. But, I would say from an optics perspective, right, it needs to be done once kind of everything else is done, right? Once you've accomplished everything else when it comes to making America great again, okay, then you can do that, right? Then you do that. I think that's what it makes the most sense, okay? So who knows? Maybe Trump is sending a warning shot to Joe Biden that, hey, maybe you should have pardoned yourself. Who knows? Maybe he's trolling Joe Biden. Maybe he's trying to make it hard for Biden to sleep at night. I don't know. Regardless, it would just be nice to see Democrats actually be held accountable for once. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
So what do y'all think? Y'all think Trump was sending Joe Biden a message? I would take it as a message. I forgot to pardon myself. But it goes to show you, it's like that other congressman said, Joe Biden was signing papers, didn't know what he was signing. Somebody else was running government. So Joe Biden don't even know who he's pardoning at this point, allegedly. Because Carville and the rest of the Democrats seem like they throwing him under the bus. That's all I got for you this morning on this Friday morning. Y'all enjoy your weekend. This is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Support the channel, like, share, and subscribe. As always, salute to all patriots. Peace.